The Hebrew language, spirituality, identity, a few important words in Hebrew, and a warning. Not everyone is going to love this video. So hi, my name is Noah. I live in Tel Aviv in Israel. I teach Hebrew, but the way I teach Hebrew is a bit different. I don't look at Hebrew as just a language. By the way, I think any language is not just a language. We learn a language in order to communicate, which is one of the most important things in the world, if you ask me. And one of the things that we are lacking, a way to communicate, to understand each other. And we understand each other through words, and I think it's so important. But when we talk about the Hebrew language, at least for me, it's not just a language just to communicate. It's a unique language. And I'm not saying it because we write and read from right to left, because there are other languages that do it. Not because we have gender, female and male, for everything, objects, animals, everything, ideas, because there are other, I don't know if in that scale, but other languages that do that as well. The reason I say it because Hebrew is very spiritual. It's a holy language. It's the language of the Bible. If you study the Bible in English, it's not the same. It's a very unique and deep meanings for the words there. I can't even get to it because I don't even get it. It's so deep. You have to put your whole life and dedicate yourself just to learn this. People do it for their whole lives and they're still learning. So I'm not gonna even attempt to say that I can understand everything. I can't. But this is a holy language. This is an ancient language spoken for thousands of years. And this is a language that's got something to do with identity and, as I said, spirituality and a religion. Not everyone is going to like this video, I know, and I'm going to talk about things like identity and religion and language, but that's okay. I'm doing me, and it's okay if you don't like it. One of the comments that I love getting is when people tell me that they love the way I teach, my vibe, the way I do things, the way I teach. And this is actually me. This is how I teach. This is how I vibe. And when I teach Hebrew, for me, it's not just another language. It's deeper than that. It's identity, even religion, culture, history, a nation. And why am I talking about it today? Two reasons. First of all, everything going on in Israel since October 7, I'm sure you know. The fact that I don't speak about it much here doesn't mean that I don't experience it and live it. And the pain here is so, so big. And also the strength and the unity. It's amazing. And if I do a Hebrew channel and I see more and more people joining, I can't sincerely do a Hebrew channel without talking about these things. It's not genuine. So I do want to talk about it. And the second reason is that Pesach is right around the corner, our holiday, Pesach, where we tell the story about the release of Bnei Israel, the people of Israel. Even the name stays the same, Israel, thousands of years ago. Bnei Israel from Egypt, from slavery to liberation, to freedom, to cherut. Well, actually, if we're talking about Hebrew words, chofesh is freedom, chufsha is a vacation, but cherut is more than freedom. It's not just the freedom to do what you want, or it's the liberty of being free just by being a human being and just by being a part of this godly creation. Now, I'm a Tel Avivian girl. I'm not religious, but again, this is my identity. You don't have to be religious to understand these things, I think. And because I'm not religious, I think that when I ask myself, is it all true, the stories? Well, there's archaeology, of course it's true. But when I think about Hebrew and Israel, and the fact that this nation, after 2,000 years of exile, came back, as promised, to the promised land, and resurrected a dead language, And they try to resurrect languages all the time, and they can't. I think it's miraculous. I think there is a higher power here when we think about it. It's hard not to notice it. And what happened after October 7th, at least for me as a Tel Avivian girl, is that I got even more in touch with my identity. Instead of trying to run and say, no, I'm just, a city girl, I understood that there's something that I am, that I am proud to be. And a part of it is Hebrew, because if we go back to the story of Egypt, what separated the people of Israel from the Egyptians? Well, they were slaves, true, but that's not enough. What separated them back then, because they were still not Jewish, right? They still didn't get the Bible. It happens just after, but they still don't get it. They're not the Jewish nation. They are the people of Israel. What brings them together, the first alliance, the national alliance, there's the individual alliance with God, that is the circumcision, right? There are some alliances before that Abraham does, but the nation alliance, the first sacrifice to one God, the people of Israel do before they are released from Egypt. And what keeps them a nation, although they still don't have a special religion, is their names. They're keeping their names and they're keeping their language. Now we know that names are identity. In Hebrew, identity is zehut. And we have identity card, teudat zehut. And today we're not supposed to talk about identities, but yes, I believe that real freedom comes from understanding where we belong. This is actually freedom for me, at least. And the name is very important. Hashem, Shelanu, our name, and also we say Hashem, the name, because we can't say the actual name in Hebrew, by the way, is identity. For instance, in the Holocaust, the first thing they took from people is their names, the way they looked. They give them a number and everyone looks the same. They don't have an identity. And language, specifically this language. So I think when we understand how Hebrew is unique in that matter, and when we learn this language, we understand it's a part of an ancient, miraculous, beautiful dynasty and history and spirituality. I do a lesson about words in Hebrew and spirituality. You won't even believe, and again, I'm not a rabbi, so the things that I know are not even close to things that other people that learn these things actually know. And if you have something to add, then by all means. And if you want me to do a video about words in Hebrew and spirituality and their deeper meaning, let me know. I'll be happy to do it. Write it here in the comments. But I really wanted to address the viewers, people that see me. And for me, it's a small community for you and me, guys, to exchange. So I do the videos, true, but I read your comments. And I do view this channel as a community to talk with each other about these things and about this language, which is very unique. I teach people who don't live in Israel, who will never live in Israel, that want to learn Hebrew because of this identity. Whether, by the way, they're Jews or not. It's more than just that. So I had to talk about it. Not a lot of Hebrew words today, but yes, I do want to inspire you to view this language as what it is, which is more than just a bunch of words and sounds and new alphabet. It's so much deeper, and if you feel connected to this language, this is a part of you. I always say that a second language, any other second language, is a language that we need to acquire and learn and study. It's not mine. English is something that I love. I love English, but it's not a part of my history, right? It's a language spoken by so many nations. But Hebrew, even if you don't live in Israel, even if you're not Jewish, by the way. It's a part of something deeper, I think, than any other languages, but maybe you'll tell me differently. I would love to hear from you. So what I want to wish all my brothers and sisters and our allies, also my brothers and sisters across the world and in Israel, is that we'll all find chirut, liberty, I think we say in English, true chirut in our soul, and to get to know our identity, our zehut. I think it's very important to acknowledge. For me, this is a process that I am so deep in it, I had to talk about it today. And to know there are greater things than us. This is what I believe. I think you can't look at the place of Israel, the coming back of our nation, and the coming back of Hebrew to being spoken and taught, by the way, for so many people. You don't even know how many people want to learn Hebrew. It amazes me, even, without looking at it as a miracle. So I wish you all chirut, Pesach Sameach if you're celebrating, and just all Pesach Sameach and chirut, liberty, liberation, feeling freedom in your life. A happy spring here in Israel. It's just the most beautiful time in the world. And one last thing, I truly wish that everyone who is in captivity will come back to us safe. We're thinking about them every day. We're going to keep one chair empty this year in many houses in Israel as a symbol for us waiting for them. And before I start crying, I'll finish this video. Chag Sameach.